came with the expectation to understand the real dynamics of climate change and its impact on heritage. And I was very much focused that having seen the Ras festival for the 4 days, having observed the people, community, tourism, I was very keen to know how we can save and protect the cultural heritage of Majuli. There is a science behind climate change. There's a science behind floods. Sometimes we miss the point that science has a role to play in the explanation and understanding of climate change and of flooding in the Brahmaputra. When we were discussing with the Satradhikars, we got a sense that it was not a discrete random approach to siting or establishing a satra. It was very clearly thought through, that they had a high ground, that if something happens, they could move to a high ground. So this was a cultural landscape built by very clear design, with a clear philosophy and a clear purpose. For us today, as people who are trying to understand the tradition, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the future for satras? And I think the responsibility for that lies not just with the Satradhikars, but for all the members of the community to say, do we want this tradition to continue, and for how long? There is two elements, preservation and conservation, of the heritage, both tangible and intangible. The preservation is in terms of allowing the continuity of the heritage. The conservation side is where things are deteriorating over the last 400 years, how to stop further deterioration. In that respect, we wanted to have a People's Museum where you are able to bring representative materials for 6 months or 2 months, and it's not imposed on anyone to do that. People's Museum would be a composite museum, which brings in people and communities and all the satras, where you have master craftsman training opportunities for people to learn the art and craft. Carbon neutral Majuli is only possible if we remove plastics from our daily consumption. And the biggest challenge is single-use plastics, that you use plastics once and is left into the environment, discarded into the environment, pushed into the rivers, dumped into the rivers. So with the youth, who's the future of this country, youth who are the future of Majuli, they will take responsibility to enforce a ban on plastics, starting from the place of learning, into their homes, into their community. Majuli should become the model for Assam in order to ensure that plastics do not become part of our daily life, but the culture and tradition becomes part of our daily life to ensure sustainability and future sustainability of Majuli. It is the human story like these which really helps us, transforms us, to know that we have a responsibility not just to control flood, we have a responsibility to protect the culture and heritage. And each of these people's culture and heritage, the Satras, the Satradhikars' culture and heritage, the Bhagats' culture and heritage, the Mishim's culture and heritage, the Ori's culture and heritage, the Sonoval's culture and heritage, needs to be considered more properly and needs to be accommodated and brought together to really preserve and conserve the tradition and heritage, cultural heritage of Majuli.
Binam kalda anaruyitet gela binam kalda.